Recording in progress.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to call to order the meeting of July 30, 2025 of the Town of Yarmouth Plastic Reduction Bylaw Task Force. So welcome, everyone. I was hoping, I wanted to start with food establishment definition, but a little bit of a kind of an overview here. Friday's August 1st. As we all know, at the end of December, we have a current regulation that's about to go into effect, and so we've been under somewhat of a time crunch to get some things done here. And so what I'm hoping we can accomplish today is to take what we've got done, work through the definition, look over the regulation, and have what I'll call the fair semblance of a template of a bylaw that can now be reviewed by the Board of Health. That is, get on a health board agenda following this meeting with a product that they can then evaluate through the public hearing process and get the input from the board, et cetera. Falmouth had the luxury of all open-ended time. We don't. And we've made great strides. We're moving quickly, and I think we're moving efficiently, but we're also moving in a good direction here. So if we can try to make that a purpose today, that would be helpful. I know we have some folks in the community that I want to hear from as well. But the objective here, I hope, is that we can leave with that product in place and then get moving, because we've got time crunch. And we knew that from the beginning. So I just kind of wanted to put that on the table. Does anyone else have a different thought on that, or just trying to get it out there now for discussion?
No, I'm good. The other thing I just wanted for the new people in the audience, we're not here to push the plastic ban. We're here to amend it and make it feasible for the grocery stores, for the restaurants, for the little guys, to be able to make it feasible to do this. And we're all kind of in the same agreement that plastic is bad, but eliminating all plastic is not the way to do it. We're coming up with a great proposal for the Board of Health to look at, to take steps moving forward to doing this. We totally understand some things are not going to happen, but we're going to work with everybody to be able to get this together. So we have a great base going right now. Jamie, you're doing a great job, so thank you. I'm looking forward to moving forward. So
thank you. As we said at the first meeting, the objective here is to strike that fair balance between trying to reduce plastics, but allowing the business community to work within the confines of what's available, what's practical, what's reasonable, versus what we've got presently, which, all well intended, is just a little extreme. I'll say it. So for those out there, who may not, I'll recognize you, and I just want to kind of move through a couple of things here, and then we'll be happy to have you come up and hear what you have to say, and we'll go from there. So if you can just be a little patient with us, I'd appreciate that. So,
Jamie,
yes.
I had a thought today as I was reading through the regulation one more time. For brand new regulations of this type, usually we have to send them to town council. I know you're an attorney, so can we count you as the legal review?
I'm happy to do that. In fact,
I mean, if that's kosher, I don't know.
for purposes of the overall bylaw, or for
Yeah.
the town or the state regulation definition?
No, just the overall bylaw, right?
I think we still need it sent to our council, just
Okay, well,
I was
darn.
going to say, yeah, I'm happy to look at it, but
try.
I'm sitting in a funny role. I'm on the committee that puts it together, and then I'm going to review the product that the committee put together. So I do think that that's a great idea to
Okay.
get their feedback on it
Right.
as a proposed health regulation. And we know their opinion is not to rewrite it, but to
Right.
just make
Right.
sure there's no
We're not.
landmines.
Right,
Okay.
exactly,
I-
yeah, okay.
Excellent suggestion. So the food establishment definition that we've got comes from the current version of a definition that is set out in the Code of Massachusetts Regulations that's contained in your packet. And our bylaw that we're working off of has a definition section, and Falmouth, if you recall, just put food establishment as defined by in that regulation. And we thought it was a good idea to incorporate the words so that someone using the bylaw that we have doesn't have to switch between looking at the regulation and then looking back at the bylaw to find what the definition is. So the food establishment definition that we've got here is from Massachusetts Code of Regulation. There are some things in it admittedly that are a little head scratching. Okay? I will point out, Liz sent an email and she raised a couple of excellent questions of a few things that seem to be puzzling in terms of what is a central preparation facility that is included as a food establishment as opposed to a food processing plant that isn't. And the bottom line is, I'm not sure presently we need to arm wrestle with that because we don't have the time to do it. We can get guidance as this task force stays composed, even though we go to the Board of Health, to help educate ourselves, to then educate the community. But right now, this is a code of regulation as presently defined that I'm not sure it's in our best interest to alter, change, amend, because it is a regulation that the legislature has passed, and I think I'm comfortable incorporating the definition in it, and then using the task force going forward to answer some of these questions of what sits in conflict. What does this mean? Because the health department's going to get asked those questions, so we should be able to try to make sure we understand what that is. So, does anyone else have any thoughts on that definition?
I like what Mark had said previously, that we say as currently defined.
I agree with that.
Yeah, and add that as a caveat, so that people aren't looking at 2013 food code and thinking that's it,
So,
something changes.
any other thoughts from anyone? So, where we have in our draft, it says food establishment. Would the folks be comfortable with saying as presently or currently defined by 105 CMR 5900.00 and then put the definition in?
Yes.
Chapter and verse.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Excellent. The next thing in definitions is the polystyrene definition that we've got to come up with. And so in our packet, we have a couple of definitions that Haley was kind enough to, so they came in an email, I think.
Yeah, I sent them to Mary.
And then I forwarded them to you and said, you know, we should have a discussion with the task force on how they want to define it.
I think Newton's bylaw is the better of the two, and I have no problem with it. I like that it talks about styrofoam because, and exactly what it is, because I think there's sometimes some confusion about that.
Sorry, Mary, I couldn't hear you.
I'm sorry. I like Newton's bylaw definition, just the way it is, and I like that it talks about styrofoam in terms of what it is and that it's a brand name, because I think there's sometimes confusion about that whole substance and what it's made of and all.
Should we include also just the regular definition of polystyrene? Just so there's no confusion that we're not just banning foam polystyrene, but also the other forms of polystyrene? Because foam polystyrene is just expanded or extruded polystyrene. And I can also pare that definition down. I just kind of wrote that to be like a standalone, so I wasn't sure. My thoughts.
Anybody else have any thoughts on it?
I thought there were two different ones. I thought that the styrofoam one was an addition to the first one. I didn't think they were separate examples. I thought, yeah, put them together, it'd be fine by me.
Well, I think styrofoam is a standalone definition.
Yeah.
Then the question on polystyrene is, I kind of liked all three of them because the top one defines polystyrene as it is. The third one down talks about foam polystyrene, and then the middle one talks about polystyrene foam food service products, and we're talking about food service regulation. So I didn't have a problem incorporating all of them.
Same
Sure.
Okay, Jill, please?
Hi, I just wanted to mention, we have a polystyrene ban bylaw for the town, and I wondered if, and there are definitions for polystyrene in it, so should we be consistent?
Yes. Thanks, good
Yes.
catch. I was completely unaware of that. All right. So maybe what we should do, again, on the premise of putting something together here, is if there is a town definition already in place of polystyrene, we should use that.
Yes.
If we find it, we should use it.
Can you find it, Barry?
I don't know if we can find it right now, but if we can find it, we should use it. If we can't find it, then we should use what we've got here, in my opinion.
Amy?
Yes.
If I may?
Liz, please, just come to a microphone, thanks.
Knowing that you're trying to make this the last pass, as it were, maybe we should also add that if there is an absence of these definitions in the town bylaw, do we then add what needs to be added to accomplish our purposes?
I agree. I think if we have a definition of polystyrene, we should be consistent.
If the town bylaw, however, does not cover what we want to see covered,
We should add it in this.
that's what I'm saying. Thank you.
I did not look at the town definition. That slipped my mind that we had one.
All right. It's okay.
Should have done that.
No, that's no problem. Well, with that caveat, I like those definitions. But as long as we're consistent, I think we have to be consistent. Anybody else have any thoughts on that topic?
Yeah, the other thing to be cognizant of is we don't want to make a provision that's inconsistent with state law or state regulation, right? We need to be mindful of that. While we may not have a definition, I think we need to default to whatever the definition may be with the Commonwealth, rather than trying to create something on our own. I think we have to look there first.
Well, okay. I think we can still get something with that fine tuning, we can get to the health board with saying to them, listen, we're putting a fine tune on a singular definition. I don't think that's gonna slow down this process.
Not at all.
Better to get it right, but we can still, we're on one little thing here.
Right.
It's important, but we're on one little thing here. So does anyone have any questions or comments about the red line version of what we've got in front of us?
Yes, I did.
Please.
On page 2, I didn't have any problems with the things that were changed, but on page 2 that it says takeout container, it says a container used for takeout food. Is that enough of a definition? Or instead of saying I don't know, it just, just struck me as, ooh, that's not.
Too simplistic?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's simple, but remember, takeout food is defined right beneath it, below it.
Right, right.
I mean, sometimes the simplest one is the best one. What is it? Container takeout food. What's takeout food? See the next definition.
And then on page 3, 3B, it says, leftover food and/or takeout food carried out by customers must use takeout containers. So maybe we should say takeout container used for takeout food and leftover food.
That's a good catch.
Is that okay?
Yep,
All
I
right.
like that. Anyone else have any problem with that? All right, thank you, that's great.
And I had one other question about the non-criminal disposition on page 6, the fines. Barry, we have certain guidelines for fines. Those are in keeping with them, are they? On page 9, section 11.
Yeah. Usually it's a verbal warning before for the first offense, it's a verbal, and then we start on to the dollar amounts. If we could change that, because I really don't feel comfortable. I get a call that Bagels and Beyond has served a ramekin of cream cheese. I'm not going to run down there and fine them $25. I'd like to go down and educate and give a verbal first. So if we can change that, that'd be nice.
And the other thing that we usually do is talk about the number of offenses within a period of time.
That's true. Within,
That triggered then kind of the worst case punishment.
I know sometimes with a lot of our fine, it's a daily, and it can be,
Right. That's for comment, it said, right? right, Jamie? It says commented, discuss. Each day that a subsequent or continuing violation occurs shall constitute a separate offense. The civil penalty for each such violation is set out in Section 1-2 of the Yarmouth bylaws.
So I would like to keep in the sentence that says, each day that a subsequent or continuing violation occurs shall constitute a separate offense. But take out the next one, because that, I don't know what section 1-2 of the Yarmouth bylaw says.
I don't
And this
either.
one's self-defining by its own penalties. Different regulations can have different penalties.
Right, right.
And so I like first offense verbal warning, and I like adding in each day a subsequent or continuing violation occurs shall constitute a separate offense. I think that's important.
Maybe do verbal, then written, and then start with a dollar amount. That way it'd be documented.
Right,
Again, we want to educate, not,
right. Penalize immediately, right.
So first offense verbal, second offense written.
written.
Everybody all right with that? Okay. And then third offense, we go right to the $100?
Yeah.
Sure,
I mean, if you don't get the message the first couple times,
right.
why not?
Sure. Because that also gives them the time that we've said that they have, 60 days, right, to comply? Where's that?
We agreed on
in here?
30.
Yeah, we said 30.
We said 30 before.
30, okay.
Yeah.
Thought I saw 60 somewhere.
Hopefully by the time they get to the third, they'll have it cleared up, so that's definitely not our goal.
Can I ask Jamie if food service permit in that same paragraph is a term that should be capitalized? It's not in the definitions. On, same, underneath the red line on page 6, in the, B, 11B, the very last sentence refers to a food service permit. I don't know if that's supposed to be a term or
That's just the permit that we,
just a reference to.
yeah, just the fact that you have to have an operating
Morality.
permit.
Okay.
You need a permit to serve food, so I
Yeah,
think that's
it
what it's
doesn't need to be-
referencing. I don't think we need to add, like, those establishments knows what, they know what they need to get.
Jamie, one thing that
Yep.
is in this, 9, just the overall title of 9 is leftover containers. However, majority of what we're discussing and the terms that we're using is takeout containers. So 9, it should just be takeout containers, because at this point, leftover containers are being put into a container for taking out of the restaurant. So therefore, leftover just seems redundant to say that, and just to keep with consistency, it should be takeout.
Actually, interestingly enough, they're both in the definitions. Wonder why that is. Oh, it's because takeout container is referred back to, for a leftover container.
Just find what we're doing.
That seems a little
Yeah,
silly to
that's-
have both of them.
Okay.
So we're making that change?
I would just suggest that if any food that is leaving the premise is essentially considered takeout food, whether it's leftover from what you just ate or a whole meal that you're taking out of the restaurant, it should just be, it's a takeout container.
Yep.
Everyone was in agreement.
So we're changing the title of 9 to takeout container.
And change the first word in that paragraph.
Correct.
Take out.
Okay.
I had something
Yes,
that
please.
I was kind of thinking about. From page 5, section 7, accessory disposable foodware items. Item B, packaged accessory disposable foodware items are prohibited unless they're packaged individually in paper. I've been trying to find silverware that's wrapped in paper, and I haven't been coming up with anything. Also, the way that it's written, it doesn't allow, so I think the composable is actually wrapped in a cornstarch material. So by the way of this definition, that would be prohibited. So we'd actually be prohibiting anything unless it was wrapped in paper. So I don't know if we need to completely get rid of that or change it or.
Well, interestingly enough, we have the good fortune of having someone from Cape Cod Paper here today, so maybe we could recognize that gentleman to come up. Can you help us with this particular question?
Help you with a lot of this.
That's great. If you just come up
Pull up a
and
chair,
pull up a
say your
chair,
name.
you know,
So, just looking
just
at
identify yourself, please, and,
my name's Eric Bowen,
Okay.
president, owner of Cape Cod Paper Company.
all right.
So I'd like to thank Barry, because literally this is the second town that have reached out that are doing these. Polypropylene, not in any of this definition. Largest plastic ingredient in the world. So,
Just worked on it, I think.
that being said, me personally, with my business, the margin on all this compostable and biodegradable stuff is fantastic. You pass this law, I make more money. But I think what's being overseen here is the fact that CMAS exists for us. All our trash goes on a train. It is, by the way, mixed, recycled trash, all in the same car. Goes to CMAS. It is separated robotically, laser read, and human. They separate aluminum, plastics, metal. All this compostable and biodegradable stuff is only facility compostable and biodegradable. You can't put it in the backyard and it composts. Doesn't do it. There is none on the eastern seaboard. So right now, this is all heading the right way, but I think we're putting the cart before the horse. Because all this biodegradable and compostable stuff is being incinerated. It's worse for the environment right now. All manufactured in China, no EPA. So no one knows what's going on over there. We bring it in containers, and I have it all. I'll sell it to whoever wants to buy it. Plastic cups, polypropylene. The polystyrene stuff is bad, and you guys have already banned it. So, I mean, that's kind of redundant. That was banned, what, a few years ago?
Yep.
So this is just, that's a useless language. It's polypropylene you're looking at. All the plastic cups, 100% recycled.
So not just to give you, the beverages are excluded from this ban.
Plastic cups,
Yes.
straws, cutlery,
Straws and cutlery are not, however,
Recycled.
any coffee, like coffee iced cup.
portion
to go.
cups, recycled.
Ramekins are in this, straw containers are in this, straws are in this.
Cutlery.
Just anything cup and lid right now are excluded from that.
Okay.
So,
So, not that in bearing in mind, forget cups. Anything plastic that is in the being separated at CMAS is recycled. 100% recycled. I see in here that there was something with a food container that can't be coated. You're gonna have a lot of upset restaurants. And people who go to restaurants. That's falling through. You get anything warm, it's going through the container. There's PFAS free now, which I don't know if anyone knows what PFAS is. Yeah, so it's all PFAS free, not cancer causing, is just like everything else is. But that's gonna be an issue, because you're gonna be making these people basically take a paper container with no lining. Let's say, I don't, name a place, Captain Parker's fried clams. It's going right through that. It's gonna go right through the paper bag, and the people aren't making it to their car. So, I mean, this is all good intention, and I get it. I was the first one, those blue straws that Dunkin' Donuts use. I brought them in. First on the, again, east of the United States. They're great. Again, recycled. So the paper straws, I don't know if everyone liked paper straws.
They're fine.
You think so?
Yes.
I have never
You
heard
need a
one.
straw.
I
Who
have
needs a
never heard
straw
one person say
usually?
that. I've been doing this for, Christ, 35 years. That you are the first person I've ever heard say, I like paper straws. That's not a thing. I really do think, like, this is all for the better, and I understand it. And like I said, I have it all. I mean, Haley's Camden, I've given her catalogs of everything that we had. But what is concerning to all the restaurant owners, you guys, it's gonna be priced out. The markup on, so Cape Cod Creamery, plastic teaspoons, you can't use a plastic sundae dish anymore. You're gonna have to pay, and I don't know the numbers, this is all just speculation, $15 for a sundae, when you can go to a Hyannis location and pay $8. So, or you can go to Dennis, pay the same price. This is all, you gotta think, I think, bigger picture, that you're not gonna, no one's saving the world right now with this.
And just so you know, we're not intending to.
Right.
All right? And we're not advocating for plastics, nor should the business community think that passage of this will mean there will never be plastic used ever again. We've built in guardrails for people to make application to the health director. It costs too much to get the substitute product, you can get a waiver. If there's a problem like you talked about where the product that leaves the store falls out of the bag at the time, I'd argue that's an undue financial hardship. I'm losing money because my customers can't take out the product. We've created a mechanism to state your case, for lack of a better word.
And I'm not arguing against
Right now,
the plastic ban at all, like,
I understand. So,
but, well, I'm just giving you, there's another side of this that.
Of course.
Yeah, so what if, is there anyone grandfathered in? So,
no.
I have, someone buys 50,000 cups, well, not cups, I'm sorry.
Well, when you say
Sunday.
grandfather, so we're giving a grace period if, say,
I don't mean grandfather, I mean somebody.
grace period, say, you saw somebody there.
Supplies, to use up the supplies they already
We'll
have.
give them definitely a year to use up their supply, like for clam shacks that buy bulk at one time for a better price. We're giving them a leeway to use it up, so
I
we're
think
not
you might
just
see
gonna
a-
make them throw out.
Right.
So,
Well, that's, yeah, but you might see an influx of that happening real quick.
Yeah, we've addressed that at our last meeting of how we're gonna.
And I apologize, I'm just here,
No,
that's the
and
first
you
time.
raised excellent
okay.
points.
Yeah,
I mean, we're not trying to harm businesses. If you've got inventory, we want you to use the inventory and not have it just languish there. And again, some of this is going to be implemented. It's still a work in progress. And we're all gonna kind of,
I'm just, yeah, and like I said, I'm actually for it in the sense, but like it has to be done at some point, but until we get the correct facility, you can get those stuff composted. You have to pay another company to come and get it, then you have to pay for the disposal.
Right.
So now you're getting upcharged twice on something you didn't get charged for at all. This is officially, it's a slippery slope right now, because like I said, this is actually, all this stuff that you want to move to is actually worse for the environment right now.
but the thing is, unfortunately, the bylaw already passed, so we're trying to
Yeah, I mean, I'm just.
back and
yeah.
make it better for the owners and the consumers. I mean, it's already passed, so if it goes as it is, Town of Yarmouth is gonna be shut down. I mean, Shaw's will lose 30% of their product. I mean, these guys won't be able to do anything, and that's what we recognize. We're just trying to make it so it's
Reasonable.
reasonable and doable now, and taking baby steps. Like I said, I'm not going to go in and kick down doors and start snooping in people's cupboards and stuff.
So again, playing devil's advocate, the fines, right? If I'm open for 5 months and I'm saving thousands by just using plastic, I'll eat a $100 fine.
Well, see, that's the thing, is that you can be fined the first time for the 100.
I get it.
But then if you're just continuously just,
So Barry's got to run around every day, just walk in.
but the point is that if you're purposely like trying to circumvent this, they have the authority
Shut down their permit.
to pull your permit.
Yeah, I get that.
We,
mean, like,
listen, we get it as restaurant, like Aiden and I run restaurants in this town.
no, I know.
We fully understand, like, we would rather not have to deal with changing our entire product or changing how we're serving things, and the customers are getting what they're getting. But we also understand that we have a law right now that if we don't alter this to some state, some workable state, we are definitely going to be in a worse position than we are where we are trying to fix this right now.
Like the polystyrene stuff, all the styrofoam, all the pressed styrofoam.
We banned that 2 years ago.
Okay, so like all the meat that goes on those,
Like the meat trays that like,
those not banned?
no, that's exempt.
I'm asking, I don't know.
Meat, seafood is exempt from this.
So I have a question on Aiden's question. If you can look at paragraph 7A on page 5 for a second. 7B, excuse me.
Yeah,
Prepackaged accessory disposable foodware items are prohibited unless they are packaged individually in paper. Does that exist? Is there such a thing?
you can wrap stuff in paper, sure.
Okay, but do you sell that?
Yeah.
All right, so if someone wants to buy prepackaged cutlery, it can come wrapped in paper and they could buy it from you.
No, not the cutlery yet. No, I thought you were talking about just wrapped food, like in paper.
Okay, disposable
Sorry.
foodware.
Yeah, oh, just foodware, yeah, no. Not yet, there's that, like, cornstarch, like Aiden was talking about, that straw company, the blue straws, the fade straws, they're coming out with cutlery right now. It's the same thing, it's marine biodegradable. It's blue, I don't know how many people love that, but that doesn't matter. So that's coming down the road. I've actually ordered some of that just to see how it goes. So there's like, but that's plasticky, you know, like people think it's plastic.
So we've got to address this paper thing because
If I could make a comment, I had said that I knew of 2 companies that had utensils wrapped in paper. I've been trying to find others that do that. I could really only find those companies, Hay Straws and Holy City Straws. They do utensils as well. They're biodegradable, but yeah, like I've been searching for other companies. They are at a more expensive price point. So before I had said like, oh, I like that would be paper wrapped. Now not being able to find so many options, I understand if we might want to edit that, but I know that it's better that they're wrapped because it's more sanitary. But like, how, like, could we just do, no wrapping? Like, how necessary do you feel that is?
Most restaurants used to put out cutlery just unwrapped, and then
Yeah.
that COVID thing happened.
Yeah.
yeah, there's a kind of a
The health-
public safety thing here. That's why they wrap them, is so that
Like no wrap straws are supposed to be used now. I mean, unwrapped straws.
I don't want to use a fork someone else has dug in their hands.
Right. I
and
mean, they used to be on
I
like
don't
those
do that
cups,
either.
and people just
So-
grabbing straws.
Maybe paper is a little too strong of a word there. I'm curious to know, because we have a definition of what is an accessory disposable foodware. So if it's prepackaged, it's prohibited unless they are packaged individually in what? Can we say something like, just to use our definitions, certified compostable material? That
Well, I
work?
think that gets tough because then we get just bioplastics, we don't have an industrial composting facility in town. My opinion, I would say that they should be prohibited unless they're not prepackaged. So like individual.
Unwrapped.
Yeah.
Why don't we just get rid of that line? And then it's
'Cause-
just,
People will ask
So
people will ask what?
about the cutlery, about the food.
a lot of the, I mean, Haley might be aware of this, I'm not sure. So like the compostable, biodegradable, like containers, the brown fibrous, the lids are polypropylene. Some of them are made from cornstarch, some of them, which also at a temperature will melt into your food. So, there's always going to be a little bit of plastic or like, and I understand you're not trying to ban, but I'm just saying, like, I have the containers in my warehouse right now, and I was looking at them the other day, because the containers are completely compostable, and the lids are polypropylene.
So then that would be a variance. At least you're trying
Yeah.
to move forward. We would grant a variance. You're doing the best practice. Instead of using a fully plastic container, I would give these guys a variance to use the bottom one that's compostable that's happened to have a plastic top. That's to me, that'd be reasonable.
I mean, a lot of people move to those BioPack containers, I don't know, they fold, little rectangular things, and they just flap, there's a flap, a lot of people are going with that for their to-go containers. But if you like prepared foods and you put it out, you want people to see it. You know what I
We've been
mean?
over that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
We've
it's,
talked to the grocery stores about that.
and like deli containers, what do we,
We've been
is
over
that a,
that.
Yep, yep.
Yep,
deli container's been talked? Has that
we've
been-
talked about it.
Yeah, is that,
Yep.
Everything that Stop and
good.
Shop sells. Yep.
Everything that Shaw's, who are here, and we didn't mean to.
No, I get
they're
it.
Similar, they sell the same stuff, right? They will be equally impacted if what we currently have went into effect and was enforced. It would be a dramatic impact on what they not only can sell, but Yarmouth consumers could purchase. And we're trying to prevent that, and we think we've struck a balance here
Yep.
that will do that. So we've kind of thought about a lot of this stuff.
yeah, no, I mean, it's obvious, it's not, just, you're not unprepared, it's just, it's clearly
just-
written well. It's just like, it's a silly question, there's, people wrap sandwiches in plastic wrap, cling film, is that,
We got it covered.
yeah, is that banned?
Not necessarily. All right? There are going to be exceptions to every one of the rules, as it were. Okay? So, like I said before, each business and each individualized circumstance and have the ability to articulate why it needs to continue to use what it's using or some other derivative of that that is not as impactful as what we're trying to
Right.
eliminate now. That's the balance that I was talking about at the
Yeah.
beginning that we're striving for. And this, again, is going to be a work in progress.
Oh, yeah, no, I know.
And it's going to come with some fits and starts and some bumps, and we're going to figure it out after we get it working and see how it works. And that's what the health board's going to do, and we're all going to work on this together. And
Foresee an influx of seasonal businesses saying this is a financial burden that I can't.
they'll have every opportunity
Oh, that's
to
what I'm-
make
I
the
mean-
presentation that they say, and if they can support it, then they're going to be fine. Right now, they have an opportunity, right now, they wouldn't have an opportunity to make that, and that's not fair. This gives them the opportunity to do that, and I think that's what we're trying to accomplish here.
Like if I have 10 restaurants saying, I need this, I can't find this, that's a legitimate, 10 different restaurants are, all right, then that could be a waiver. But I have one pizza place saying, oh, I have to have this. Well, the other 10 other pizza places are using a different product,
Wasn't there language in here about the financial part of it?
Yep.
so.
Yeah, so I mean, if I'm paying $13 for a case of 1,000 spoons, and now I have to pay $85 for a case of
Pretty good
500
argument.
wooden spoons.
Gives you a good argument.
Yeah?
Doesn't mean you're going to win, but it's a pretty good argument.
I mean, it's all gonna fall back on the consumer.
Look, and again, we're mindful of that, of how it impacts Yarmouth on every level as a community, as a tourism destination.
Like I said, pass it. My margin's good.
It's already passed,
Yeah,
we're
no,
trying to
no.
make it better.
So let's go back to this 7B individually in paper. I'm with Aiden here that I don't like the word paper anymore. Okay?
So Haley had a good solution if it just said prohibited unless they are individually packaged.
Wait. I meant not packaged.
No,
Like if we have
unwrapped.
unpackaged
I'm not
one.
comfortable with unwrapped because I don't think
Not
that's
healthy,
sanitary.
though.
Well,
Right.
like when you get silverware at a restaurant, people are
comes out of
rolling
it.
it, hands are touching it. But whatever, I do understand that. I think I kind of agree with Aiden with just removing the line altogether.
But didn't Mary say she wanted a definition?
Well, I'm just saying, people are going to ask about that,
Right.
and so I think we need to address it, because we have been discussing it and talking about it. It's a hard one to address, but I think we need to do it.
I think if we didn't have the line in there, you are right, people would ask, but I don't. Maybe they could get a waiver for those to have them prepackaged. We could include that in the waivers.
Can I ask a question? What are the options, sir?
For what?
If I wanted to buy, so I go to a restaurant and I gotta take out thing, and they give me a knife, a spoon, a fork, and it's in a plastic wrapper.
Yeah, just those cutlery kits.
That would be prohibited. That is accessory disposable foodware that's wrapped in plastic. What are the options? You said there's this,
I mean, there's some that are wrapped in like that, it's corn-based.
right?
Right,
There's some in
but there's
paper.
gonna be plastic.
So there's
inside that.
corn-based, paper, there's no
No,
paper.
it's like it's almost like a translucent looking wrapper.
Is that biodegradable, compostable, recyclable? I don't know.
Better than.
Better than plastic, but it's not.
I mean, Fade is right now the only one that I know of that cutlery-wise has come forward, like, on a mass market scale to do it. And that's saying a lot considering how many cutlery things there are across the nation right now.
Yeah, they're getting huge.
Yeah. Like, to what you're saying, Jamie, like, if you don't have that prepackaged thing, what are your alternatives? You don't get silverware. You're either gonna
And
get,
that's not right. I'm
but
just
that's
saying.
what, like, it's either wrapped or it's not.
It's gotta be
So-
wrapped.
I mean, I wouldn't want.
From a health point of view, I mean, like Haley said, I mean, if you go just sit down at a restaurant, your silver has already been touched by at least 2 or 3 people.
So
So there's no,
just like I get it, and that's you are sitting there under the, assumption that someone has cleaned those and handled them properly. Where
Yeah.
I'm not so like our plastic cutlery sits in a warehouse, which is dusty and.
but it's in a box.
Well,
it's
it is,
covered.
and then it opens up and is set in a storeroom. And
It's in a plastic box. I mean,
Let's kind of come back to what we've got to wrestle here with this definition of,
Jamie, is it possible that, because a lot of the to-go places just have the machine that disposes of the silverware, and that's probably expensive, but is that something that we should have as part of this discussion? So when you get your takeout, you go ahead and you push the button, you get your fork, you get your.
a lot of times now, it's not just the person, it's Uber Eats or
the
DoorDash
delivery,
that's coming
right.
to get.
Yeah, yeah.
So that the dispensers you're talking about, they actually have biodegradable cutlery. And those dispensers, they're smart stock, and you just get the ones you hit.
Right.
Yeah, and those are available.
Hospitals use that. Hospital cafeterias use that.
But those aren't individually wrapped either.
Right.
No, but the only person handling it is the customer, in theory, unless you're doing DoorDash.
Someone has to fill it.
Pardon?
Someone has to fill it.
Well, I think it comes right out of a box.
Yeah, but I would say
No.
most people put their hand in and then.
Oh, no, this is you.
It individually
It's a lever.
dispenses.
Yeah, but how does the dispenser get filled?
So
Dispenser.
it's like dispensers, so it opens, you take it
now
out,
you're
it's like,
asking someone to buy a machine.
Yes,
To
that's
dispense,
what-
you know,
that would
4
be the-
cents for a fork and the machine costs you $1,000.
no, it's not that bad. It's
That's a
like,
rough one.
I think they're like
Maybe it's not
60
that bad.
bucks for
Being
each.
facetious. Can I try a different way of looking at this definition of 7B? And maybe turn it around. Prepackaged accessory disposable foodware items are prohibitive if packaged individually in plastic. Gives you the opportunity to find an alternative. Doesn't have to be paper, it just can't be plastic, but you could get a waiver, you could try to get a variance, or you could try to find a suitable alternative. So we're turning the definition around.
So maybe, I mean,
I
to
think
help
that's
with-
good.
Hold on a second.
Yeah.
Hold on. Wait a minute. I just want to hear from the folks that are up here. Just give me a second.
I think it's really smart.
Say that one more time, please.
Prepackaged accessory disposable foodware items are prohibited if packaged individually in plastic, period.
So that gives them the option to buy a case of free ones and wrap them themselves, or get a dispenser, or
Or come in and say, I can't find an alternative that's not wrapped in plastic without costing me 100 times more than what I've got. I need a waiver.
Yep.
But you're not just narrowing it down to paper. We're giving you the option, but we're consistent with trying to cut down on plastic.
So let me just ask this. Then, by that definition, I can then just put a fork and knife into your bag
Yes.
Yeah.
without, it's not wrapped in plastic.
Right,
But just
right,
in a
yes.
1,000-case thing, I can just pull a fork,
Right,
knife,
right.
throw it in your bag,
Right.
right?
And then under 7A, the customer has to ask for it. It's not a hard lift.
Right,
Okay.
right. Yep.
Eric?
by that,
Does that help?
Yeah, that's kind
that's fine.
of what my intention was.
Well done. Okay. I think you just-
Just making sure that that's where we're heading with that. Okay.
Yeah.
so by that language, would that mean I could use a cutlery kit? You said
I
individually
don't
wrapped.
know what that is.
If it's,
Yeah, you get the fork, knife, spoon, napkin, salt, pepper thing in the plastic wrap.
Right.
You said individually wrapped.
We said
If three of them are in
They're
one
That's not
package,
individual.
Package.
broken the,
That's not
they're not
individual.
individual.
It's not
anymore.
individual anymore.
Okay, fine, take out the word individually, if packaged in plastic.
There you go.
Okay. That work, Mike? Aiden? Do you guys see any problems?
Nope, that's fine.
Okay. I mean, in terms of operationally?
I can always go see Barry for a waiver. If I do find a problem.
Is this better, to your point?
Yes, it's much better than
Okay.
the just overarching statement of wrapped in paper.
Haley?
I mean, some places wrap them in napkins, you know, I mean, they do it themselves, and that's labor.
an option,
I
too.
understand, but I'm just saying,
That's available.
that's
They're
available.
pre-wrapped, yes.
Let's take a minute and recognize the gentleman from Shaw's, if he could come on up here. Thanks you, sir, for
Thank you,
your
Eric.
input, we really appreciate it.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you. Call you.
Hi, good afternoon.
How's it going? Nick Pratt from the Amashaws. I don't actually have too much to add to what he's.
No, please, go ahead.
I just found out about 2 hours ago that I was even coming here. So I'm a little on the unprepared side. I apologize. I know, Mary, you came last week. We're going to set aside a time for you to meet with some people from Shaw's. But in the meantime, the only thing I really have to add is when the water bottle ban went into effect last year, a year or two ago, obviously big hit to the store. All we've really done is driven customers to Hyannis, Dennis, just like he was saying. We found what we consider to be suitable replacements. I do think a lot of good stuff in here. I understand the importance of it. But other than that, like I said, I don't have too much to add.
I can tell you that through this process, from our very first meeting, the grocery store, the Stop and Shop had some folks came, and they gave us a very thorough and detailed overview of the products they use, which I imagine are the same that you sell.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay? And why it's important to have them a certain way, and what the impacts would be if you couldn't use them. And so we have been, so you're aware for your store, mindful of how what we've got now would impact you and the customer, and how this, we think, helps solve that problem. So we've taken that into account. So just so you're aware, we know the need. And one of the things about public safety and health and display, and people have to see it and carrying it out and all that, balancing those things, we've talked about it at multiple meetings. So we're mindful of what the impact would be to your store.
And particularly, we understand that you have different food safety standards than a restaurant that,
We do. And I think, like I said, definitely, we were kind of informed about this a couple weeks ago, and then pretty chaotic couple weeks with the grand reopening. So we definitely need to sit down with Mary to go over some of those a little more closely, to see really how it will affect us. Obviously, you walk into any of our food service departments, and 85% of the store-made items are in plastic. So I'm sure there is some sort of suitable replacement. I obviously can't speak to the business impact of it, but definitely as we meet and we can figure out more.
Does Shaw's have a store in Falmouth?
They do.
Falmouth has this regulation in effect now.
Okay.
Goes into effect, I think, Friday, 8/1?
I thought it was September 1st, but.
Okay, close enough. 8/1/9/1, coming, all right? Closer than what we've got. They're slow rolling that implementation, and so one of the things, we're kind of really close to what they've got there. I like what we've got, but you should reach out to your colleagues in Falmouth and find out how they're dealing with all this too, because you're gonna have some similarities here of how Falmouth and Yarmouth will be similarly impacted, is all I can suggest. And we're happy to have you come to another meeting, and we'll talk about it, all that. Kind of up against the deadline here, but.
Yeah.
We've had, sorry to interrupt.
No,
We've
please,
had
go
Stop and Shop's sustainable energy program people, they're notified. I'm sure you're a big company at Shaw's, you have a sustainable energy, sustainable product department too. We'll get them involved. I mean, there is stuff out there. I know it's gonna cost more, but like I said earlier, and Stop Shop brought up, if what's it, 30% of their product? If it stayed the way it is right now, 30% of their product they couldn't use.
Right.
I'm sure you guys would be 29 or 31%,
Yeah.
right? So, your company has big pockets. Reach out to them and see what they can do, so.
But you're gonna be an applicant just like everybody else,
Yeah.
okay?
And if I can, I just want to say at the last meeting, I was asked to reach out to Shaw's, particularly Ann Peterson's Market, and neither establishment was aware of the regulation that had been voted on at town meeting. So this was new news to them, what we had been working on. So when we went to the ribbon cutting, we met with some of the Shaw's representatives and offered that they could come to the chamber office. We could bring them up to date on the work that this task force has been doing, get them caught up to speed. And also, we made the same reach out to Jeff at Peterson's Market, and hopefully he'll be able to sit down with us as well. And, you know, the emphasis was on that we want to work with them. Right. We're all trying to accomplish the same goal, and I think this task force has done a very good job in reviewing the regulation. So it's going to be workable.
Of course.
And the Chamber of Commerce is working very hard to represent you well.
Yeah.
So.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
One of the things I'm hoping, if we go past today, well, once we go past today and get on a health board agenda, is that the select board or the administrator, whoever kind of blessed us getting together, would allow us to continue to help get the word out as best, because we've talked about in other meetings, what are we gonna do? How are we gonna do this on the webpage, all those other things? And maybe this is a forum to brainstorm as to how to get the word out, because we've got two businesses who are prominent businesses in town that have no idea there's a regulation with a deadline coming up, and I think we can do a better job.
Well, Bob offered the town communication committee,
We should take it up.
so yes, I'd like to see that.
I need to be able to work with the county to have them put it on their website and stuff like that. The town of Yarmouth is doing this, so and again, education, whether it's a small little mom and pop store or a large corporation, and we're gonna have to give them the same education for everybody, so.
Can I just say one thing? Yeah, I think the more we just identify the businesses that need to be contacted and have someone go there and approach them, that would, from my point of view, that should be on the list regardless of all the other things.
Yep.
All right, and if that means getting volunteers from this committee with a pre-approved script and information, that's fine. I have no problem doing my part and going to my,
The good news is I have 2 interns from the county that are looking for stuff to do. So if we could put
Bingo.
together a script.
There you go.
Lab rats.
No, I honestly think it's important to have that contact.
Yeah.
It's like in a campaign, political campaigns, the single most effective tool for voter contact is knocking on the door and actually speaking to the voter. And so what we need to do is we need to get a list of all the names and then work with interns, make sure that they're coached, they're scripted, they have brochures, they have some leave-behinds with some material and points of contact information. I think that's something that we need to work on, like, right away. Without having, we don't have to, getting the regulations figured out and so forth, that's gonna take a little bit of time. But in the meantime, we should be at least getting that and perhaps even directing people to a website where they can keep up to date with what's going on. And that's something that our communications department should be able to help us out
Yeah,
with.
definitely.
Okay, let's go back to the draft regulation. Is everybody comfortable? We've kind of, thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll be in touch, thank you. So what we have open-ended is we have to see if there's a conflicting definition of polystyrene currently in effect in town. And then work on incorporating the definitions that we've talked about for styrofoam. The 4 definitions that are on the packet here. Styrofoam, polystyrene foam food service product, and foam polystyrene. So once we figure out the consistent definition for polystyrene, we'll incorporate the 4 of them.
Jamie,
And
just so you
number
know.
1 and number 4, there's some redundancy, so, when it's
We have to make
combined,
sure
we
that
have
it's
to just
combined,
make it
yeah.
clear, yeah.
while we were discussing that earlier, I just sent a link to the entire group of, 120 dash whatever, the polystyrene reduction that we passed in April of 2022. That link is in your emails for you to look at. It talks about the purpose, intent, and the second thing is definition.
Great.
And it defines expanded polystyrene, talks about food establishments, and polystyrene.
Right,
So
thank you.
your definition of polystyrene is, it even notes the terms of styrofoam, a Dow Chemical Company trademarked for polystyrene foam.
Great.
Great.
So that is the definition.
Good, thanks, Mike.
So that might cover it all already.
Yes.
All right, so is everybody comfortable if that definition covers it all, we include it?
Yeah.
All right. And I think,
I just have one note that the numbering's off on page 6.
eight. All right, we'll catch up 8, 10, you mean?
10, 11, then it goes 11 again.
Oh.
Catch, yep. 9, 10, 11, 11, got it. Nope, important. So we'll end up with 14 total numbered paragraphs.
I have a quick question. Do the definitions, and I'm so sorry if this is a stupid question, do they have to be in alphabetical order?
Helps.
It helps, okay. I just thought maybe plastic, like Eric was like, you don't have polypropylene in there. I don't think we need polypropylene, but maybe it might help to have plastic as the first definition. Just a comment.
I like alphabetical.
I like alphabetical.
Okay.
OCD.
Guilty as charged.
We all know it's plastic that's most important.
Okay. All right. Let's check one box here. Let's go to the minutes if we can, and just approve the minutes from 7/16/25. Does anyone have a chance to take a look at them? Anyone have any questions? Entertain a motion to approve?
So moved?
All right, any second? All in favor? Say aye. Any opposed? All right, seeing none. Our next, I'm not done. Next meeting's August 6th, is that right?
Correct.
Okay, and we're gonna be at here. Okay. So August 6th, change.
That's next Wednesday.
That's next Wednesday?
Yeah.
So it should be,
Note that the front page of this says town hall, so don't get.
I know, so we're gonna change it. So the good news is if we're here next Wednesday,
Did
then,
we do that instead of going bi-weekly for a reason?
I don't know why. I don't remember why.
Thought we're pushing it so we can get it done.
I'm in favor of coming back next week because if we have that finished product, what I was gonna say is how quickly can we then work on getting a health board agenda?
The next one is the 4th, and then after that, it might be the 18th.
So again, if, I'm okay with either the 6th or the 13th for us to reconvene, and can we try to target the,
Let's do the 6th in case we need more, then we can do it again the following week also, if we had to.
but is it possible, Barry, can you help us get on the 18th agenda?
Ooh, that's gonna be tough. I know a guy, though.
so I know that we've been working off this rough draft and we update it in red as we're doing it. So I'm assuming by next week, we're essentially gonna have like an all black version of this that would essentially be, unless we're literally crossing some Ts and dotting some Is, that's essentially what we're doing by next week. Just so
I think so.
clarity.
Mary?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just incorporate our edits from today, so
Yep.
you'll see those in red line, and then from there, we should be able to black line it unless we have any left.
Good with that?
That works.
Someone wants to work on a script
For what?
for the interns?
I
to-
think you need to get in touch with the communication folks here from the town. And I don't know how you do that and who's in point.
Well,
Yeah, I would recommend working on your own for a script. I think it's important to provide notice, so coming up with an explanation of what we're doing and what's going on, that's pretty straightforward, that's very simple. And then what we want to do is make them aware of what's going on, aware of what's happening, and then give them some, it would be nice to give them some information exactly on what the proposal is, but that might require more work and more time, that might take more time.
And engender more questions that they wouldn't.
Yeah, but if there's a Board of Health meeting date coming up, if there's information, meeting dates, what they should know is that there's a fall town meeting in which this will be taken up as a subject. And I think to some extent, if we don't have the most recent information, there's a website, there's a place that people can go to get that information. They should be notified of that. And so I think just the basics are incredibly important, and we want to make them aware of what's happening and invite their input. And they need to have a point of contact and where to go. The other thing is that it can also be done in conjunction, since the chamber has been doing outreach, volunteering the chamber as a point of contact for information as well. I think that at a minimum is what we should be looking at. I'm sure there are other suggestions, but I think, quite frankly, the sooner people are notified that something's in the works, the better, and how to keep abreast of what's going on, I think, is incredibly important. So I think, how long are you going to have your interns?
Till March?
Till March. Okay, that's terrific. That's good. Well, the point I'm getting at is that sometimes interns, I'm so used to interns being hired and brought on board for the summer, and so.
I have one for the summer and one till March, so.
If we're meeting next week, and we're gonna, priority one is review the draft regulation, that may not take too long. Could we put on the agenda this narrative or this message, and we all kind of work on what that script is?
That's great.
Yeah.
I think we could be helpful.
And
that
it will
help
be,
you?
it will also be helpful that we'll have kind of a finished product to then present to people as the interns go, yeah.
Yeah, if that can all get together that quickly for next week, so then after the meeting, you'll actually have something. And I would recommend, if you have any questions or you're in doubt, you just contact the chairman to get clarity on something. I think I'm very comfortable deferring those kinds of decisions to the chair. But in the meantime, I think the basics are important to get into people's hands. And the thing is, I think what would also be nice is to have it in Town of Yarmouth letterhead, all right? Letterhead, notice. And we want to keep good track of who we've reached out to and who's received it.
So I was going to suggest if Barry needs help with the draft, I'd be happy to help him as well.
And if you want to circulate one, I'll help you as well.
And then I was going to suggest we could send a special, like, e-newsletter out to all of our membership. It's 380-plus businesses.
That would be a huge help.
Goes to over 700 contacts, so, I mean, that's a good
Yeah.
start.
And then the communications team here in the town can supplement and build off of that. I think what we need to do is take it upon ourselves to sort of focus on the core, the basic level of communication and the basic constituency. And
Mark,
then,
might I ask, though, do we have a web page for this?
Not yet.
Yeah, should we at least notify them of that so they can get
well, I
us a
think that's a
webpage?
conversation, involving the chair, and once we get the script together, once we get a draft together, then I think we'll actually have something that can be put on the webpage. So we may even want to invite Lori
What
Sullivan.
I'm thinking is have
Come
them,
to our next meeting.
Next
Put her
meeting.
on our list, Mary,
Yep.
of invitees for the next meeting, and we can actually have an agenda item.
Right.
Communication, interactions with the affected community and constituency.
Maybe the interns too, Barry.
Yeah, there you go.
They pick their days, they come.
Oh,
so.
shoot.
So if I can just say, the chamber office is not as large as this room, so it
I
will
will make
be
it work.
very tight in there.
We'll make it work.
Yeah.
Is it recorded there also?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
In terms of communication, I'm also wondering if we should have something prepared for the general community before the town meeting,
oh, yeah.
in terms of.
Oh, yeah, I think.
Is coming.
Yeah, I think what I would recommend, Mary, is that you just layer on the communications. The first thing to do is you need a communications and education effort to finish your job as a task force, right? Yeah. You want to take an extra step in making sure that we've reached out to the affected community. this is in the works, this is what we're doing, this is the draft proposal, we want your comments, we're on a fairly robust schedule, however you want to characterize it, but we really need to get your input soon on this. And I think that's your first level of communications. And then before the town meeting, obviously, the substance of what it is that's being communicated will be similar, but you're doing something different, right? Right now, we want people to be aware of what's going on, and we want their input. I mean, it's great that we've had the support that we've had, the feedback that we've had. That's been terrific. But we need to also keep in mind, and this is a reminder that a lot of committees in town get. You know, we often find that when we're working on something, we get a captive group of people that are paying close attention, but sometimes we don't realize that that's only a small percentage of the affected communities. So I think it's good that we're having this conversation, and I think it's good that we're doing that kind of outreach. It may even be helpful to do a mailing. If you've got a list of the establishments, if you've got a list of the people that are affected, doing a mailing may be, I still believe knocking on the door and talking to somebody will be important, but I wouldn't be shy about a mailing in addition to the chamber doing an outreach piece as well. So I think this should be the core of the communications effort. And then I think secondarily, once we get through this and we start hearing from people, then the next step will be to get ready for town meeting, once we're pretty much done with the business of, getting to the Board of Health.
On that subject, under other business, can we talk a minute about how this process is going to unfold? We get a regulation that we like. Get it off to the health. As I understand it, and this can be subject to council's review here in town, the Board of Health has its own independent power and authority to pass health regulations. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So theoretically, this is going to be a health regulation, which is what we have said is our intention. It is my understanding that the Board of Health, after the duly noticed public meetings and all that they have to do to touch all the legal bases, can vote and adopt this regulation, and it becomes a town health regulation. Then, let's assume, just for sake of timing, that happens in October. Now we're going to have an effective 1/1/26, a health regulation that we've put together. And then sitting on the books is the other general bylaw that runs in conflict with it. So my understanding and thought process would be, if the Board of Health approves this regulation in advance of town meeting, then all town meeting necessarily has to do is vote to rescind what currently is on the books. It's not a redundancy. Town meeting does not have to approve what the Board of Health has already approved.
Right.
They simply just have to unwind what's currently there.
Right.
Has to be handled right.
So-
No, it has to be
Yes.
messaged right, and
That's
I'm
what I
and I'm
mean
not
by handled.
disagreeing with that.
Yes, no, I'm
But I
not
think
disagreeing.
Legally speaking, that is the mechanism of how we get to where we need to be.
Mm-hmm.
And so then it has to be messaged that what you are rescinding has already been replaced by something better.
Yeah.
It is
Well,
workable,
I think,
right.
Mr. Chairman, I think this is the time where town council does get involved.
And that's why I said,
All right,
yeah.
so I think what needs to be done is we get the draft rules and regulations before going to the Board of Health. It might be helpful for our health agent and the chairman to find some time with town council to brief council. And you obviously want to do that through the town administrator, Barry. And I would recommend that you get some time with council so that they can review that, but also could provide some confirmation, if that's the appropriate word, of confirmation of the approach. I agree with what you're suggesting, but I think it would be helpful for everybody involved if town council sort of blesses that or
I agree.
provides a confirming opinion.
Mark, correct
on it.
me, wouldn't we also have to have the town moderator weigh in on this?
Not necessarily. The first thing to do is
Might
to
want
get
to.
town council to be clear in providing direction on a course of action. All right, so we want to make sure that, because it may very well be important, we need council's advice in terms of, they're going to have, town council, the thing is with every town meeting, every article is reviewed by town council. All right, so this is not an unusual exercise, so we just need to get to council early so that they because eventually there's going to be an article that's going to come to them, and it may very well be a repeal, and council might want to provide some initial opinion as to what that article should look like.
Well, I think no matter what, my opinion is there has to be an article that repeals what's there.
Yeah, but it has to be placed in proper legal
It has
form.
to be messaged correctly.
Oh, messaged is one thing, but I'm suggesting that it needs to be legally correct.
No, I understand that.
Right.
I'm just saying, the upshot of it was going to be, in its proper legal format, a rescission of what's currently there. The argument to the citizens is, we're not rolling back and making it a free-for-all. By the way, we've already got something over here that the Board of Health has just passed. We'll get council's blessing on that, but I believe that's the path that we have to take.
Well, my tendency in dealing with town council is this is their realm, this is their jurisdiction. They're the ones that need to opine and provide some guidance on.
And we'll get it.
Yeah.
Mark, who writes the bylaw?
Well, we're not writing a bylaw.
All right, who
But
writes?
there will
well,
be
what's
an
on the
article,
warrant?
there'll be an article that rescinds the bylaw.
Okay, so who writes that article?
Probably town administrator.
But I
give
would,
us a crack.
yeah, sometimes the town administrator can do it. He's going to look for help from staff.
And council.
All right, so he's going to be looking for some guidance from this group in terms of what is it we think it should say? So it's worth spending some time on this now. And then ultimately, it will go through the process of being reviewed by council, so that it's in proper legal form. And then on top of that is the messaging for the town meeting. But let's make sure that we've got the legal steps and the legal pieces of this figured out and taken care of. And then the next step will be the messaging that goes on top of that.
And we usually have quite a delay when we send something to town council. Just
Yes.
let you know that. It's
I've
not quick turnaround.
I understand that. I have no comment. Let's just leave it at that.
no suggestion on how to have it expedited.
It'll be
That's
expedited.
that's a conversation with Barry and the chair and the town administrator.
Okay, good.
Yeah, yeah. When the town administrator, his job is to light a fire under town council.
Okay.
All right? And the reality is if we're heading to town meeting, we've got a robust schedule, we've got a lot of work to do. These will be the things they'll be talking about anyways.
Okay.
All right? So I think anything that we can do to put in draft form a suggested article, suggested language for the article, I think the more that we can do, the better. That helps just move things along. Because if I were in your shoes, I would draft it now with the help of the chairman and then send it in to town council along with the town administrator and ask them to take a look at it if we're going on the right track, if this is the right way to deal with this. I'd start that process.
Could it be
through an-
possible to get the edits and we approve via email and have it possibly on the Board of Health's meeting on the 4th?
No.
Okay.
I have a full meeting on the 4th. It's a full meeting. Sorry.
No, I was just,
Summer on Cape Cod.
The legal, there's no need for a lot of public involvement on the construction of the actual article itself. It has to have the legal effect as expressed by the chair, right? And so council will tell us the best way to have that. In fact, council will probably help write.
Something tells me the word rescind is going to be in that article.
That would not
Over
surprise.
town council, I bet the word rescind is gonna be in
But you know how, having been that, you know how these
I
things
know it
work.
works.
Yeah.
there. We'll get it done.
Mr. Chairman, if I can ask, do we need to have a draft of the application or form that a business would have to submit
For
to
a
the
variance?
Board of Health agent for a variance or waiver?
I can work on that. That's simple.
Well,
Because I just know Falmouth didn't even have one yet, and here
We're
they
gonna
were
need one
about to
for
roll it out.
implementation. I don't know if we need one for passage.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's why I'm just asking, because I don't want to.
Saying that, like, to pass it, I don't think the Board of Health take what we've got here and then say, well, we're constrained, we can't pass it till the form's done. I would say, no, they can pass it, and then we'd make the form, because you got a couple of months before it goes into effect.
He's working on it, yeah.
Yeah, the other thing is the Board of Health may want to have some input into that whole process as well.
And that's why we were
Right.
trying to,
Gotta
Right,
get there.
right.
yeah.
So I think,
Would it be okay with this committee? I have been asked to help with the IT department on some levels, and I specific to the website. And it kind of makes sense right now in the absence of the town administrator on vacation, to go down the hall and let them know that we are hoping that we can develop a web page.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
We're gonna need to do it, might as well start now.
Yeah.
I have a quick question in regards to outreach. So I know that we want to, notify restaurants that this is coming and get them involved. Would it be appropriate, do we want to invite them to our meetings? Maybe not the next one because it's at the chamber office, but future meetings.
I think that would be great.
Yeah,
Well, I think,
okay.
like to Mark's point, we gotta generate a list of the people who are gonna be impacted. We should, and then have the script ready, and then just blast them out. Not only that, come to a meeting,
Yeah.
and invite them to the Board of Health meeting.
Right, there'll be a hearing, so there'll certainly be welcome
Yeah.
to come to that. That's when
Yeah,
they
the
can come
public
and-
input, it's a public hearing.
Falmouth did public comment meetings, but not a lot of people came. And then talking to businesses in Falmouth, I think that their education's going to be really important. But also just hearing whenever anyone looks at the bylaw, I think people get really confused really quickly. Like they don't see the waivers. Today, I think Eric got confused about the waivers and everything like that. So, but good to know. I wasn't sure if we wanted to invite people and if we are allowed to, could I email this draft out just to a friend of mine that owns a restaurant, or is that no?
I'd wait.
I would
Okay.
not do that.
I won't.
Okay? Because why did we single out that restaurant? This is a draft, it hasn't been vetted by council, it hasn't been vetted by the Board of Health yet. I'm a little leary of doing that.
We haven't
Okay,
shared
that
it with
sounds good.
everybody. Yeah,
I'm not,
Kind of tell them what's on it, but
Okay.
I wouldn't give them to them.
no.
Okay.
Amy, did you say there'd be a hearing
the way
There
the-
will be,
Yeah,
on what?
the Board of Health
on the draft regulations.
proposal
Oh, okay,
has a
gotcha.
public hearing. Public's invited to come, give its input. The board gives its input. So there's a process to pass a regulation from the Board of Health, and that includes a public meeting where there's opportunity to hear from the public about what they're looking to pass.
And we don't have a date for that yet.
Now, we're gonna try to get on the 18th agenda to
That's
set
what I
that.
thought. Okay, so that is the 18th. Gotcha, that's what I thought. Okay.
But I'd like to have the draft agenda on the agenda to discuss it on the 18th, and then set the process.
You're not gonna have a
in
hearing
motion.
on the 18th.
No,
That's a
No, there
little,
won't be a hearing
No,
on the
because
18th.
you have to post it in the
no, it's a
newspaper.
meeting to discuss the hearing,
Right,
Okay.
yeah.
Right?
yeah.
Okay.
Or, hopefully
All right, well,
to
we're
pass
making
the
record.
regulation.
One last question, I guess. The thing that we've discussed, I think, in multiple things is, in future thinking this, we're going with the idea this will pass and everything else. The educational part going forward year to year was discussed about setting up some type of annual, similar like how the alcohol compliance you have to meet, come to the meeting once a year, be in compliance in order to, get your permit sort of thing. I think that, I don't know if it needs to be stated in this or if it's just a byproduct of what we do, but I still feel like if we establish the fact that, once a year, you're gonna have to have a representative sent to a meeting or something like that, that we discuss any future changes or any, new regulations or changes to this, that it just gets a better update for the business community in one chunk shot than trying to go individually to 380 different locations.
Question for you on that, because I'm not familiar with it. How do you know you have to go to that once a year? Is it in your liquor license? Is it in your business license? That's what I'm asking. How do you know you're supposed to go to this? Or they just,
Or the alcohol compliance?
the alcohol compliance?
I believe the Yarmouth Police has a running list of representatives, and they send out an email of these are the businesses that need to come this year, and have a rep from that. So they keep a running list. I think this is down the road, but I do think it might help make your life easier, Barry, because at that point in time you may have 10 businesses ask for a waiver on one thing that you might even be able to just, okay, yep,
Yep.
we're gonna approve that waiver or variance or something, and kind of consolidate it so it's not you going to.
Yeah, 100%. That's
380.
right. So we'll work on that, so.
I just didn't know if it's something that we have brought up on numerous different occasions at this point, so I didn't know.
I'm sure I want to build into it that it has to have an annual review. I think this is something that a policy that the health department can say, we're going to take a look at this annually and we're going to figure out how to educate our businesses once we pass it.
Yeah, and I wouldn't assume that it's going to pass.
No, I'm saying with us.
You made the assessment that it's going to pass at town meeting. Don't make that assumption.
I'm not assuming that the town will pass this. I'm saying based on us working in this, we're obviously working with the intention to have this being passed.
There you go. That's
So
better.
the
better
intention
put.
is this to be
That's
passed.
exactly, yeah. Town meeting was pretty cranky about this subject.
Yes.
At the last town meeting. They were, a lot of people spoke very upset that the original bylaw was not being implemented.
Correct.
So our hope is that we can educate and message in such a way that this will get properly acted on. But you heard sometimes at these meetings, people won't show up until all of a sudden the last minute. I mean, how many times have we seen that, right? So it wouldn't surprise me that in spite of our best efforts, we engage in an education campaign, and then what happens is there's a last-minute flurry, and that people show up at town meeting, and there'll be those advocates that want to see aggressive action to reduce plastic showing up and get very cranky at town hall or on the town meeting floor, and then you get others in the business community that may feel a little bit inconvenienced about the whole thing. So I think it's important for us to get as many people educated, informed, and behind this whole effort. So we've got a lot of work to do as a task force. There's no question about it.
I agree. I do feel like the citizens were most concerned that we were just kicking it down the road and just weren't going to do anything. But we've proven that we're doing something, and that it's a better bylaw than what we had. So
I think it's important to understand, and my last point on this, is that there's a level of concern within the public. That was very obvious to me, that people want to see plastics significantly reduced. And there's almost, I don't want to say an intolerance or an impatience, but there's a real intensity among a number of people to see something done. So it wouldn't surprise me to see that same strong
I
feeling.
think I'm one of the ringleaders of that. I'm one of the ringleaders of that mentality. And that's one reason I wanted to participate in this, because I can now speak to the people who are like-minded and say, this is what's being done in other towns. This group was so well-intentioned, tried so hard, worked so hard, and I support it entirely. So I think that's one reason it'll be helpful to have somebody who came on strong for it there to say, the job's been done as best it can be done.
Well, we've got a lot of work ahead of us, so.
Excellent. All right, anything else, anybody? All right, so motion to adjourn?
Our meeting next week.
Next Wednesday. I think that would be helpful.
At the chamber.
At the chamber.
The chamber.
Parking will be a little challenging, so you may need to park behind the building where natural resources is.
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you.
All right, motion to adjourn?
Second.
All right, there we go.
All in favor?
All in favor? Aye. All right, thank you, everybody.
Recording stopped.